Hey everybody, welcome back to Tavern Talks. It's episode 148, and we're over here with GM Justin, otherwise known as Forever GM Justin. Um, we're gonna have some fun tonight. I need to adjust something because I got excited talking to our guest off stream and didn't put him on the top, which is where he belongs. But yeah, fixed. Told you. Told you at the beginning of the show that the show never goes the way it's supposed to. But that's okay. That's part of the fun of it. Um, Tonight, we're going to have a conversation about his experiences here in the TTRPG world, what he's doing, what cool ideas he might have for new players or game masters, and all sorts of fun stuff, and whatever other rabbit holes we decide to dive down tonight. Of course, if the music's too loud, let me know, and we'll turn that down. But let's jump right into it, shall we? So, Justin, real quick, can you just give us a snippet of who you are and what you do in the TTRPG space?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everybody, how's it going? I am GM Justin. You can find me at all my socials at Forever GM Justin. You can also find me over at Roll D5, where we specialize in playing indie TTRPGs. You can find me doing a variety of different things, from GMing horror stuff to maybe some cozy stuff here and there, or being a player on various different channels, or even being part of some charity events where I'm playing Magic the Gathering. It's up in the air. It just depends on what's going on that week.
Awesome. I'm excited to hear about some of these because I'm really curious how you go from horror to cozy, because that's going to be an interesting conversation in itself.
It's a great combination. It's so easy
Yeah.
to jump from one to the other. What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah. Well, I am not that skilled apparently, so.
You call them palate cleansers.
Aha.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. All sorts of fun things tonight. But if you're new to the show, here's a cool thing is that you can also ask the questions. So make sure in the chat room, if you have questions, drop them in there and we'll answer those as best as we can. Either our guest will or we will all, depending on how the question goes. What I like to do to start off to kind of get everybody comfortable with the show is to ask you 3 questions. First 3 questions are real simple. We're going to go over them and we'll see what rabbits we dive into after that, or rabbit holes we go into after that.
For sure.
So, first one is when did you start playing TTRPGs?
So I started playing TTRPGs. D&D 5e was my first system that I picked up learning, that I picked up, and it was back when I was because I am active duty military. So in 2019, I was deployed to Iraq. And it was a Sunday afternoon. I had seen some of my friends walking over to our chapel that was next to our work. And so I happened just to pop my head in and I was like, hey guys, what are you guys doing? And they were saying they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. I've been interested about it. I've seen it on, on television. I've seen it various different medias. And so, but I had never played it. And, I was like, hey, do you mind if I watch? I'm just kind of curious about it. And so I did, and next thing I know, about an hour and a half passes by, and they finish up their session. I'm like, "Can I join, please?" And well, I haven't stopped playing since.
That's awesome. That's actually how the Misfits originally came to be too. There was 11 of us down in Aldafra back in 2018, between 4 different nations and 3 different branches. And we played the entire 6 months we were there every Friday night for 6 to 12 hours, depending on what we had on shift the next day.
Yeah.
And it was, it definitely brought me back to that mentality of like, I needed this in my life. And when I came home, I kept it as well as I could. So yeah, understand active duty. Just retired 2 years ago, so I get it. And yeah, thank you for your service. We're going to start with that one because it's important.
Much appreciated.
So 5e is where you started, and you watched it for an hour and a half session. Yep. What caught your interest?
It was just the collaborative the collaborative storytelling that was going on, and the amount of fun that people were having. We had a German national that was with us, and and he was playing in the group, and just seeing how invested he was in the story that they were telling, and watching the yes anding going on throughout the session, it piqued my interest. And I used to be a theater kid back in high school. Obviously, I hadn't done it in for so long, and then seeing it, seeing the storytelling and seeing the fun that people were having in this, that's what really drove me into wanting to pick up this game. I had no idea what I was doing at the time, but I wanted to try it. I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's a perfect example. It's just interesting sometimes to hear what catches people's attention when they see the game for the first time, or they are able to actually experience playing the game for the first time.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your first experience felt like?
Um, it felt a little awkward, I won't lie, because you look back on it now, you can look back on it now, like depending on how long you've been playing TTRPGs, and think, and with all the information that you know now, back then not knowing any of it, it's like, I probably shouldn't have approached it this way. I probably should have done a lot of things, but at the time you didn't know. And that was the same for me, being that I didn't know how to engage in this kind of role play. I didn't know how to open that type of dialogue needed to make sure that we were all being able to facilitate the fun at the table. And we did the session. There were a couple rough points that I had, but luckily I had my friends were like, hey, when we're playing this game, remember, we're not and they gave me the rundown on how a table should be able to operate. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't know that. Thanks for informing me about this, because I was just going with it and seeing what stuck. So it was some good lessons the first time.
Awesome. And then the last one is it, and it sounds like you have, but when did you decide to step to the other side of the table to pick up the Game Master?
Let's see. I think that was in July of 2019 is when I started.
Okay.
So October of 2019 is when I went to the other side.
Okay. So less than 6 months, you went from
Yep.
player, never played before, to Game Master.
Yep. Just like we were coming back from our deployment, and I had been itching to get back into playing. And well, me and my wife, we were talking about, I got her into the game too. And so I was like, hey, how about we start a group? And I reached out to some of my friends that had played with me down in Iraq, and they were all for it. And I started our first campaign with Curse of Strahd. So that was fun, diving into it like off the rip. First campaign, first time doing anything, I'm doing Curse of Strahd.
That's the first time you ran a campaign with Curse of Strahd?
That was the first time. That was the first time doing anything as a GM in general. Like, I took Curse of Strahd. I'm like, okay, well, it's the holidays. It's what is it? It's the holiday season of Halloween. Why not do something like this? This fits the vibe. Let's go for it.
Yeah, until you realize that vibe lasts 6.5 years. Like, you're like, this is such a long scenario.
Yeah, no, for real. But interestingly enough, we were able to, I think we only, that campaign lasted about maybe about 6 months, and we were also playing pretty consistently for a good amount of time. Obviously we were hosting it at our house, so it was easy for us to be able to sit down for like 3-4 ish hours out of the week to be able to play the game. But then we eventually had to move, so figuring schedules out and everything was interesting, and it got us prepared for when COVID struck. And then while other folks were trying to adjust to it, we had already made that adjustment. So for us, it was another week of playing D&D, and it was really no hiccups. But we finished everything up beforehand.
That's awesome, because I know that was one of the things that we had hit with during COVID. Was I had a home table. This was before I even went any sort of like this stuff whatsoever. We had talked about it right after my deployment, but we had never stepped into the idea. And then I brought my home table together, and then COVID hit, and it was like, we can't get around the tables. What do we do? I'd never done VTTs. I'd never understood. Like, I was like, no, that's not really my style. I mean, I've been playing since 2000. Oh God, now I'm gonna date myself. 2002. So it's been a minute, and it was one of those moments where I was like, I still want to play, and you just have to blend and find that opportunity out. But that's really cool that the first one you did was Curse of Strahd, and that it lasted the length of the actual campaign. A lot of people can't say that, and that is impressive on its own. So
yeah, and I'm very thankful for Mandy Mod and Dragna Carta, because reading the supplement was did its job, gave me the bare bones of it, but I felt like there should be a lot more to it. So looking up on the subreddits, finding those things to enhance the story, I jumped on them as quickly as I could, and it helped make the story better, and especially with everything that they had to offer, as far as like more information on the Fanes from what they had came up with, different ways to approach different some of the different plot points. It was very helpful as a first-time GM, just having that information, having a community there to provide that experience and provide that knowledge base for somebody that was brand new like me.
And you said, and can you mention the names again? Because it looks like our audience, Dragna and Mandy.
Yeah, Mandy Mod and Dragna Carta. And I think
if I pronounced that right.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, Dragna Carta was still in the middle of like flushing out all of their every part of the Curse of Strahd module. So when we got to the end game for for that home campaign, I didn't have any material, so it actually left everything to me. So I did a good enough job. I think, to be able to bring the story to a very compelling ending, especially with what I had and what I'd already built up. And then when we finished everything up, everybody felt like they had done that we reached a satisfying ending.
That's awesome. One of the things that I talk to a lot of game masters is that mentality of being able to finish an entire campaign, normally because scheduling is just evil. Yes. But it is nice to hear that more and more campaigns are finalizing. Question I'm going to ask in a little bit, we'll come back to, but I want to answer some of these questions because the chat is popping tonight and I don't want to lose it. We're going to start off with the silly question because it's great and I love it. What is your third favorite lizard? Go.
Oh God, Jenna, I love you to death. I don't, because I know as soon as you said it, I know exactly who posted it too.
She's got quite a few questions.
Yeah, she's popping questions like crazy.
Third favorite lizard, I'm going to have to say would be the what is it? Would be the horned toad, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
that's an amphibian.
All right,
that's as close as I got. Okay, man.
That's the third favorite lizard. Like,
yeah,
it's not even a lizard at this point. It's just his third favorite. What about you, Chuck?
Oh, that would be, what is it? It's the and only for comical reasons. It's the lizard that has the fans and just runs on two legs in the desert.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Just for comedy.
Just for comedy.
Just for the comical bit.
It's not a gecko. No, it's not a type of gecko, is it?
Oh, I'll look it up.
Anyway, but yeah.
What's yours, James?
At this point, because I've had lizards at this point, I think the chameleon would actually be my third. So. But yeah, no, I love lizards. I have a bearded dragon. I miss her.
Funny enough, I wasn't far off. It's called a frilled neck lizard.
Frilled neck lizard. Yeah, okay.
I wasn't that far off.
You weren't. either that or if we're gonna go like super silly, like the lizard and Frozen would be great too. Like there's always that option
Oh
too.
yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay. Fictional's on the table. Jeez.
fictional is always on the table in our world. What are you talking about?
Nah, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. So that was a good one to hit to start off and just get the sillies
Then I'll
out.
revise my answer to Godzilla.
There you go. There you go. That's a third though. That should be like a first, right?
I've got others.
I've got others. This is gonna be a fun night tonight. This is a really good one though. Favorite, man. Actually, this one I might hold off to because this is also Chuck's like.
Yeah, it's like one of my
go-to.
questions.
So we'll hold off on that one for a moment. But I do like the other one as soon as I find it.
Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate you understanding making Godzilla humble.
What's a system you haven't ran but would really like to?
Ooh, okay. A system that I haven't ran yet that is just sitting behind me at the moment is Vampire the Masquerade. I played in it. I just have not had the opportunity to run anything in it. It's and I say Vampire the Masquerade, I'm actually more referencing the whole World of Darkness, because I love what you can do with Hunter the Reckoning. I've obviously played Vampire the Masquerade, and I've dabbled a little bit in Werewolf the Apocalypse. They are great storytelling TTRPGs, and I have not had the chance to run any games using those systems. I want to at some point. It's just the opportunity hasn't presented itself yet.
Oh, it could. Trust me.
I imagine.
Don't you tell me. I will
James?
find a crew.
Well, what about you?
Oh goodness, I feel like this question comes to me every single week. Right now, my top two that I'm looking forward to running this year for the first time is gonna be probably Werewolf the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I really want to run that one. And I'm gonna shout out to my true love at this moment because I have been smitten by the darn game for the last year and a half.
I know what he's gonna say.
Shadow Dark. I love that system. It's so much fun. I just backed their entire Kickstarter way too much.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you actually did it? Oh shit.
Oh, I dropped I bought everything. West Marches is mine. And actually to throw that curveball in is there's actually a sci-fi supplement for it called Dark Space. Which is a lot of fun as well. And they actually have a lot of built-in mechanics to build the campaign as you go, which is really neat. So those are probably my top three right now. I have a slew of RPGs just sitting around me, which is kind of why I looked around for a second. But yeah, those are the three that I'm hoping to run this year or next year. So let's see here. Since I answered that, what about you, Chuck?
Oh damn! I thought you were gonna get out for a second. You know what? You know this answer already, James. I've been playing it. I love it. It's the Power Rangers RPG from Renegade. The SS20 system just speaks to me. And
it does. He loves the SS20 system.
The fact that I can live my childhood.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Nostalgia, like
yeah. Well, since we brought it up, do you want to at least share?
Yeah.
Real quick.
I'll be running one towards the end of the summer, starting in July. I guess it's midsummer technically.
Yep, we're gonna do a small mini series. His first one streaming, and actually his first one ever.
Really?
It will be his first TTRPG.
I dive in the deep end, man. Just go for it.
Yeah, he did.
Hey, just go for it, baby. Just go for it. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, yeah, exactly right. I just make a fool of myself more than I already do.
Trust me, I've been making a fool of myself for 3 years now on this show. I have no issue with it at this point.
We see where that gets you.
Hey, it gets me in a lot of really interesting positions.
I was not knocking it one bit.
Phrasing.
Yeah, so we're excited. this channel has really done a shift over the last year where we're wanting to show off more TTRPGs, and we're starting that here very soon. So we're launching the One Ring here in just a couple weeks. And then right after that, we're rolling straight into Power Rangers. So it's going to be...
Cast Call drops in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, Cast Call drops in 2 weeks for those that are interested in playing a Ranger.
Hint, hint.
Yeah. The goal,
Wink,
though,
wink,
is that
nudge,
you
nudge.
have to dress in your color during the show. You have to. It's possible.
I mean, yeah.
Requirement. Let's see. Before we jump back into more questions, because I know I'm going to forget the one that I just had like 5 minutes ago, because squirrel.
We can just run off of Jenna's questions. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm just going to run off of Jenna's questions for a little bit. So we got another one right here. Do you have a project you're really, really proud of that you just gushed about really quick? Well, we're going to do that with our guest first, because that's how that is. And then we'll jump into things. So what's your new project that you're excited about?
So I'm still in the video editing phase of it, but right now we finished up the recording of my first chapter for a series that I'm running using the Cults of Cthulhu supplement. We just did the first scenario for it, and just so happens that I had the amazing Jenna Daggers, who is in the chat right now, who played in it, and it was a blast. I am surprised, but at the same time, I am not surprised at the shenanigans we got into. I also never really expect horror games to branch out in the ways that this particular project branched out to. But hey, I love it. I support it anyway because it made for a great story.
That's right. And that's always the best ones, right? When you're like, I think this is going the way I want it to, but we'll figure out where this is actually leading.
It's like, did you guys really just introduce this into a horror? Okay, all right, cool. Writing that down. Got it.
That's awesome.
I want to play a horror game so bad.
Deep Space is a good one Dark Space is a good one for that. I've got the book.
Give me some cosmic horror any day of the week.
Yeah.
Game.
Speaking about cosmic horror, though, I also have, since we're going to talk about TTRPGs, I also have some connections with Chaosium that we might bring a game together in the next year. So we'll see how that goes. He wants me to run Pendragon, but that's not really cosmic horror. So
yeah,
but we'll see. Arthurian lore is it's a childhood dream anyway, so maybe we'll see how that goes. If I take on another project, though, Chuck's gonna stab me.
Yeah, he keeps dropping this stuff, and I have no idea what it is. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing this." Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I have to. What is it? I have to sit down with my wife on a weekly basis to go over like our calendars, because just so that way we sync up. And one, I'm not overextending myself, because I've made that a rule now that I'm going to keep my weekends to being with the family. Before I would burn weekends doing TTRPG stuff, and don't get me wrong, those were fun, but it started taking away from my time with her. Since we moved back to our current spot, we were wanting to spend more time with her family too. So it's like, all right, I'm going to devote more of my time on the weekends to being able to either just to relax myself, play any other sort of game that I can just like Magic the Gathering, or we can do stuff on the weekends too, so I don't get that burnout. But because of that, like, I squish all of my TTRPG stuff in Monday through Friday. So it's like, hey, what are we doing this week? How's things looking up? Because somebody will hit me up like, hey, can you do this project on this day? Thursday, I don't have anything going on. Calendar looks clear, and yeah, no, I'm good for it. And then we have our meeting. Hey, what does it look like this week for you? Well, I put it in the calendar. It's here. I have this. Okay, cool. And then we just verify like if there's any conflicts to it or not. I think, but I also think that you need to do that, because there's a lot of projects out there. There's a lot of content creators out there, and a lot of things to do. It's just you don't want to get yourself burnt out. You also want to spend as much time with your family as you can.
Dude, I
Absolutely.
feel you.
And I've learned that many a times. uh,
I'm I've gotten better at it. Um,
yeah.
yeah, my wife and I, we've definitely had that moment of, you're doing too much, slow down. And I'm
Yep.
like, oh, okay, let me back off for a second, reassess how we doing. So our communication is definitely a lot better, and she's definitely. The fortunate thing is that, she's also very supportive of the whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
endeavor. So that that makes a whole bit of difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And she most likely is going to be getting involved with some different projects you're seeing, probably. Anyways, so
Oh, she's chomping at the bit, but I've
the one from
I've
in
lovingly
the
had to tell her,
Discord.
like, I have to draw a line. You can't, like, don't go through me. Talk to James. Don't go through me.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't want to.
No, we'll talk. That's fine.
We'll figure it
We'll
out.
figure it out. It's good. It's okay.
I don't want to be the one to say the no.
Yeah. That's fine. I can be the
I'd
bad
be the
guy.
guy who doesn't sleep in the same bed.
um, but yeah, no, that is a that is a danger in this industry in general.
Yeah.
TTRPGs can be so much enjoyment, and it gets community together and all these fun things that really help a person just stay feeling alive. But at the same time, burnout is definitely a thing, and so is overcommitting.
Yep.
Hmm.
I mean, I've been from first year running 3 to 4 shows a week, running 3 to 4 games on top of that for professional level, all the way down to running one show for an entire year only. And then now
Hmm.
we've kind of sped up a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah.
And we've found a balance that's really works well. Unless
Yeah.
I get a random phone call from a convention that's like, "Hey, we need you here," and I'm like, "Ah."
Yeah, and that's why if you take a look at the Critic Award nominations, and the thing that stands out the most is what they consider legacy. That's anything longer than 2 years that's been running. That just goes to show you just how quickly burnout can take place. And I don't know if that I don't believe that to be an intentional thing. That may just be again just speaking be a what is it that speaks to like the rapidness that the TTRPG space has in wanting to, get as many people in, make as many people feel comfortable and being, in these projects, which can be amazing, just like it said. But at the same time, it can be too much if you don't learn to pace yourself. If you don't take that time to break, to take a break here and there, you're going to get burnt out really quick. And then it's like, well, this stops becoming fun. It starts becoming like work, and
It's a job now. What is
it's
going
a
on?
job now. And worst of all, it's a job that doesn't pay anything unless you're lucky enough to get a sponsor. Then it probably still is not enough to be able to pay the bills. So it's I think for anybody that watches this and is thinking about joining in on the space, by all means do it, but pace yourself.
Absolutely.
Take time, keep the weekends to yourself, or at least keep 2 or 3 days where like I'm not doing anything on these days, and just remain committed to it.
Unpaid jobs are the worst. You're absolutely right.
Yes.
However, unpaid passions get very close to being the worst at times because of that reason right there. Is that when we start committing so much time, it's no longer a passion, it's a job. And definitely calling myself out on that many a times. One of the reasons that we brought on Chuck is because it's kept me from burning out, and it's kept him from, and it's allowed him to be a part of this space at the same time without us trying to battle for space. So it's like, hey, you do your thing on this time, we do our things on this time, and it's all good to go.
I also give him a good sanity check. Like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah, absolutely, because you need that sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. I've even had like I've even had friends that I was supposed to run a game for. I had an emergency surgery one time, and luckily, I had the surgery. I was back home the next day, and like about maybe a couple days later, I sat down and talked to them, and they're like, Justin, you had major surgery. Go lay down and don't worry about this. We'll talk about this another time. Like, okay, I'm gonna go do that now.
I'm gonna go die. Give me a second.
Thanks, guys. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. No, that is the one nice thing about this community is that it is a collaborative community and we are supportive of everyone. And that is a great example of that right there is the idea that, hey, life happens, life comes first, especially if this doesn't pay the bills, you have to take care of you as well.
Yeah.
Surgery is awful. Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jenna, for all these questions. These have been fantastic to continue our banter. Let's see. I don't want to do a big... I know this thing was for everybody to do the gush of what they're proud of right now. Currently, the two projects that I'm working on, I'm proud of both of them. So the best way to do that would be come check us out on Monday nights and soon to be Sunday nights. So, and those are every other week. And Thursday nights. That's for you. That's your gush.
Jesus.
That's your gush. But it is also mine too, because I was going to ask you what you're proud of, but you didn't give me that opportunity.
You said
us. Yes. So, our shows are Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But the Monday and the Sunday show are both bi-weekly. So, which is one of the things I had to do to cut back so I didn't get burnt out because that's exhausting. So yeah. Let's see here. Real quick, last question I see from the chat is, what's your in real life familiar?
Well, I have that would be my little senior blind chihuahua named Tesa. And
awesome.
if you are a Magic the Gathering fan, then that name should sound familiar, and that is Tesa. What is it? What is it? Tesa Karlov from what is it? From Magic the Gathering. So
from Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
I haven't played Magic the Gathering since I was in high school and college, so it's probably been too long for me to remember.
Downtime in math class, man. Great time for Magic. Geometry.
Yo, I went from one nerddom to the other. That was the danger, because in high school and in college, I was competitive TTRP or TCG player.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was just rolling into different ones. Like I started with Pokemon, got to the point where I was making money at card stores, and all I was doing is using all of that money to start the next TCG, and rolled on until college, and then sold all my cards. So, it is what it is. Yeah, and I'll never get back into it because it's way too darn expensive.
Yeah,
especially nowadays.
Especially nowadays, due to the three set maximum in a lot of TCGs.
Not even that, just like all the scalpers that are out there, just like hoarding cards. Oof.
Yeah. I won't lie. Wizards has found a way to continue to pull money out of my wallet, especially with the recent SpongeBob Secret Layers drop that came out there, because I love SpongeBob. I grew up on that. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and buy that Secret Layers deck and make a commander deck for it. So
yeah, commander deck with SpongeBob as the commander.
Yep,
that's awesome. Yeah, I almost did the same thing with Lord of the Rings, so I can't say anything. I would buy no other decks of Magic the Gathering, but you drop a Lord of the Rings deck, and I'm like, do I want to buy or not? I just dove deeper into TTRPGs instead. Chuck, this is a question for you, but goodness gracious, you have a farm or a zoo. So, which one do you consider? Which one do you consider your in real life familiar?
My IRL familiar. Actually, she's no longer around. It was Bagheera the cat.
Oh.
That was yeah, James knows that was rough.
That was Thanksgiving.
That was Thanksgiving.
I was at that. We
was the
did
worst.
Friendsgiving at Chuck's house, and I was like, "Oh my
My daughter
goodness!"
found her in our bedroom.
Yeah, it was a
It was bad.
rough
But
one.
that was she was a Maine Coon mix, and she was the first cat that I picked that I owned.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, she was my cat. She was chill. Like she wanted to play, she wanted to hang out. She'd hang out. If she didn't, she'd fuck off, just like I do.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say anything right now. I'm living in a location where I can't have animals. So, but if I would have to choose, it'd be the same thing. I just had to put down my 16-year-old part Papillon, part American Eskimo dog down at last November. Shortly before Bagheera, actually.
Yeah,
Damn.
not on Thanksgiving. It was
Not on
before.
Thanksgiving, thankfully. But yeah, no, I mean that dog's name was literally my first paladin when I was 14 years old when I started playing D&D. And yeah, it was that's my familiar, and he always will be. But we'll have a dragon here soon. I'll have my bearded dragon back once I move to the house, and things will be better because I miss my dragon. Because what dungeon master doesn't need a dragon? So
True.
You.
I do. I love my dragon. Leave me alone.
So I have to mention this because I know Jenna's on the
Sure.
is in the chat. So this is a home game story that my players like to explore the world, and they decided they were like, you know what? We're gonna go and do this. I know you have this story, Justin, but we're gonna go ahead and do this instead. I'm like, okay, that's fine, cool. They went to a coliseum in Kymel because I was running it in the world of Exandria, and I threw it out there. It's like, hey, you guys can participate in this thing if you want to. Here's a stupid amount of gold. You just have to survive this thing or defeat it, one or the other. And they're like, okay, cool. Never asked the question as to like what they were facing or whatever have you. They're just like, stupid amounts of money. Fuck yeah, let's go. And then it did. And then I was like, okay, cool. Here's an ancient black dragon. I just tossed it at them. Took down 2 players, but Jenna was the only one to survive and kill the ancient black dragon that I threw at them.
At what level?
Jenna, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that was on 9th. They were at level 9.
Wow. How many players?
3 that went and participated in the Coliseum. Out of a group of 6. So like the other 3 were watching as the shenanigans were going on. I took 1, 2 of them out. Jenna was the last one, and then
you are a nice game master.
Oh no, I was doing everything I could to take them all out, and then
wow.
Well, Jenna hit me with this one spell that involves a maggot eating you alive, essentially, and I'm like, this is horrible. Why? And then next thing I know, points go down. I'm like, okay, you defeated a black dragon. Congratulations. Here's stupid money.
Oh god.
Krail's maggot and inflict wounds cast from the shadows.
Yep.
I'll have to look up Krail's maggot.
You will not regret that if you are a player. As a dungeon master, you will be like, I hate this spell.
I've never had a single player use it on me, so I'm curious now. And I've been playing for a long time, so I'm like, this is an interesting spell. Is it a normal book or is it a supplement book?
I think it's a third party.
Okay.
It's from a third party. So, but it's available on D&D Beyond. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, I think that it is.
Okay. Because if it's like stuff from like Dungeon Dudes or stuff like that, then that usually will balance. I'll check the balance for that one first. But yeah, co-op. No wonder it's so overpowered. I love co-op press, but goodness gracious, their stuff is overpowered when it comes to spells. I won't. Dot's gonna kill me if she hears me say that, but that's besides the point.
We love you, Dot.
Yeah. They're nasty. Anyway, yeah, Cobalt Press is fun.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let's see here. So
I think that's all of her
that's all
questions.
the questions we had on the chat so far. Now, as soon as I say that, 6,000 other questions are going to appear. But
Probably.
before
Gives
we
us the
start,
time.
that, what I want to ask is the last TTRPG that you played in. What was it?
Last TTRPG that I played in was this past Friday. I was on Smoking Glue Gun's channel. Whitney's running their her Veil of Atheum campaign. I'm playing a Drake Warden Ranger by the name of Naroop. He's a Grung, and I made him into the healer, into the doctor for the group, and he's been dubbed Therapy Frog, and that's become a command now. So I can't help it. There's a part of I have some resiliency training that I've gone through to kind of help people out and just kind of like be there for folks who might need it, and just not even just for training aspects. So like, hey, if someone's going through a rough time, like how I know certain ways of being able to like, hey, let's let's work it out, let's talk things through, and that's kind of become part of this character that I play. But this last stream, I kind of tapped into a little bit of a darker side for him, and now
Oh,
we're going to explore that backstory. So yeah, and it's a D&D story, so a D&D game.
nice.
Well, I guess that's a perfect lead into my questions,
Yeah,
really.
we'll
Cool.
start that one.
And I'm gonna take a little bit from Jenna, because I kind of like what she had said. So let me scroll back up to that question. I want to see what tidbits I can take from that. But it's essentially, yeah. So I typically ask, what is your highest high as a GM or a player, and what is your lowest low as a GM or a player? And she's wanting both, but give either one. What's the ultimate high and the lowest of lows?
The highest of highs is for me is always the completion of a campaign story. I haven't ran a streamed campaign yet. All of my things have either been like I'm either as a player for a stream campaign, or doing one shots or mini series. But anything like long term is I haven't done that just yet.
They're
But
exhausting.
yeah, but on my home front, the group that I had mentioned earlier, like we're running about 6 years strong, 5 years strong, going on our 6th year, and this is going to be our fourth campaign that we're currently in the process of. And the highest points are always when we've reached that conclusion and everybody feels like, hey, I have told that, seeing as like hearing the players say like they've told everything that they can with this character, and they love everything that they have gone through, from their highest highs and their lowest lows, to finally being able to, for their characters to live out their piece that they see for them. That's a high for me. Lows, I think for me, low wise, it more comes to being as a it's more when bleed kind of kicks in, and I'm super invested into the story, so much so that I'm actually feeling those legitimate emotions from that my character would have been feeling, and I have to take a couple days to not only talk with my wife to be able to vocalize everything, but also like take that time for myself to like know where that's coming from, be at peace with the fact like this is coming from this, and not necessarily something that I'm experiencing. This is something that my character has experienced. I'm just feeling those as well, and also listening to sad music because it helps pass by on through the feelings and whatnot. So I get to be a little sad boy for a little bit. And there's a couple instances where I felt that. One of them was during during a couple points during Castleton, where my character went through a whole bunch of shenanigans. and not necessarily him, but it was just the story in and of itself has caused him to, towards the end of the entire series, lose his mother, his new stepdad, his his wife, and pretty much everybody he knew by the end of the story, save for like maybe 2 or 3 folks that really knew him that close. And I'm just like, I felt those feelings, and I'm just like, it's not me, it's this character. I am not that character, but I'm still feeling those feelings. And I got to feel that, and yeah, that was like the most recent experience where I've had like a really big low.
I've
Intense.
character bleed is a thing, and
Yes.
people don't realize it until it hits you, and then you're
Yeah.
like,
Mm.
and this is a good time to at least bring this up. Is that's why safety tools are involved.
Yeah.
Because things like this happen.
Yeah.
Check on your players after every session, especially when you have sessions that are rough like that.
Yeah.
We just had a session where my players had just finished the pinnacle of a conflict between 2 Goliath clans in Icewind Dale. And when they thought they succeeded, when they returned out of their success, gathering all of their gold, and then found out that the character that they had rescued had just been assassinated by somebody prior to the story, they all took it a lot different than I wouldn't say a lot different than I thought it was going to be, but some of them took it more emotionally than I had expected. And it's like, are we okay? They're like, you put us through absolute like hell this last couple weeks to get this character safe, and then they're still dead. Like, now we also had a player who had to step away for other just life reasons. So not only did we deal with that, but then we're actually dealing with a player who's been playing for over almost a year now with us, stepping away from the party, and now the party having to deal with that grieving is at the same time. It was a lot. It was a lot to say the least. I will say though, funny enough, the same story that you had with your Grung, we just picked up a kobold who is now the emotional support kobold. So they're doing the exact same thing to our party right now.
Yeah.
Because you need those. So yeah, that was for those that have never experienced character bleed. It is a thing, and it can be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. Especially like for somebody who has never experienced it. When you do, it's one of those things you have to make note of, and then find somebody that you feel very comfortable with, talk to them out like, hey, I had this session and now I'm feeling these feelings. As a game master, as a dungeon master, that's part of your responsibility, is to check in on your players to see how they're doing, and then also reassure them like, hey, if you have any sorts of feelings that from this session, you obviously can talk to me, but at the bare minimum, please talk with somebody that you feel comfortable with, because you can't keep that stuff in. Like you said, it can get dangerous.
It can get dangerous.
It can get very dangerous, because it's the lines between that character and you have become so blurred that the feelings are moving over from the game into real life stuff, and so now it's figuring out how to reestablish that boundary, that barrier, so that way you can minimize the risks of that happening in the future, and then letting that bleed, come back again. And God bless God bless my wife, because every time I've had to experience character bleed, she's always there. She's listened to me, and she's helped me as I process through. Even it's more just she's sitting there listening to me as I'm explaining everything out. But when going back to the Castleton bit, when I started having those, I reached out to Jenna to let her know. I was like, hey, I'm experiencing this. And we had a conversation too. And it's like, yeah, this is a character bleed right now. This is what I'm experiencing. And then it was just like, hey, make sure you're talking with your partner, and making sure you're taking care of yourself, because that project was 120 some odd creators, and that's a whole lot of recording that you have to do. And so like for me, it's like, all right, I know this. and AJ did an amazing job doing what she could, but I needed my own support system to be able to do that, because that's a lot of people, that's a lot of recording, and I don't have that expectation that like I would for like if the three of us were on a table together, like it could be, that's a different thing versus all those people. Like I know I can devote my time to the two of you guys and making sure like, hey, if you guys need me, I'm here, and I can be there. Versus that, and like
you can't do that with 120 people.
You can do as much as you can.
You can
but
try.
That's still a lot of people, so it's good to have that support system there when you need it.
Yeah, there was we had AJ on a few months ago and talking right before Castleton launched the first time for season 1, and it was a crazy project that I was like, wow, I've never heard of something like this. I'm sad I didn't get a chance to be involved, although I did hear some of the requirements for it were almost impossible for some people. The amount of time that you had to be on a game at times would have been almost impossible for me. But I do, and the style was not mine. I watched episodes 1 and 2, and there's a lot going on, almost to the point where I couldn't follow enough. And that's kind of where I got lost. But I do know a lot of people really enjoyed it. And I know a lot of connections and friendships came from that, which was, is amazing in itself. Yeah. So, just because I'm seeing tons of things on the channel, as well as what we've heard throughout this entire show, shout out to your wife, because everybody loves her. Everyone loves her.
It's become funny because like whenever we go to a con together, I'm like, hey, how's it going, everybody? Nice to meet you. Like if it's the first time I'm meeting people, then it's like, hey, here's my wife, Jess, and then everybody will engage, and I'm just like listening because I'm happy that I'm there with everybody, and she's become more of the talker than I am, unless it's like something TTRPG related, then it's just like, okay, cool, I could chime on in, but she'll talk a little bit more than me, and now it's become like, hey, have you met Justin's wife yet? Oh, hey, Justin, where's Jess at? And I was like, oh, she's back at home, she wasn't able to make it this time. So
be careful, you might become known as Jessica's husband at this point.
You know what, I'm okay with that.
The forever GM Justin, or the forever GM Jess's husband. Yes. That's great. No, really. Let's see here. We've got another question. We had a few jump up, but I'm picked a couple of them, and then we're gonna continue through because this conversation has just been a lot of fun. What was a moment your players surprised you? Outside of Jenna, because she's already revealed what she did. The Ancient Dragon is pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie.
We'll take that from her.
But we're not gonna take that one from you.
Yeah.
But what other ones?
Oh man. That has really surprised me. I'd have to think about that one for a little bit, just because thinking back on, actually no, because I'll think no, because that'd be spoilers, so I can't. So I have to actually think about this one for a little bit. Like I said, there's a lot of games, so it's like trying to like going through my Rolodex of a lot of memorable moments, and just trying to like, okay, where's this one?
Okay, so let's break it back down. We're gonna do in person your campaigns then, your 4 campaigns.
Then yeah, this one's going to be for with regards to my wife, because it was our second campaign, and she it was towards the end. We were running Descent into Avernus, and then we came back because I added a little bit extra part to it. They redeemed Azariel, and I added in that she had a brother who was manipulated in a way that he was thinking he was doing good when he really wasn't, and so the ending caused a little bit of controversy because he ended up being Thanos by Azariel, and then seeing my wife's character flip the script and be like, hey, you're a hypocrite because we saved you and you did this to your brother. It's fucked up. Fuck you, I'm out of here.
Oh,
I was like, everybody's just like, what? Oh shit.
Drop the mic moment.
Yes.
Done. Yeah, that's awesome. What 4 campaigns have you ran so far?
So I did Curse of Strahd. I've done Descendant to Avernus. I did Tyranny of Dragons, and then this current home game that I'm running is just using the world of Exandria
Mm,
to tell the story. It's kind of running along some of the same story beats as Campaign 3,
okay.
though I have taken a lot of liberties with it.
I couldn't keep up with campaign 3, so that one I watched like the first 40 episodes, and after that I was like, I don't know. I liked campaign 1 and 2, and 3 completely just couldn't hold on to. Um, but that also went a lot wider than the other two as well. So there's
Yeah,
that. So keeping up with it is much more difficult. Tyranny of Dragons was a lot of fun. I'm a
yeah.
huge dragon fan. Like all of my games have some sort of connection to it. Um, and even my Icewind Dale campaign has a dragon in it now that's currently destroying things. It's great.
Love that.
Uh, but yeah, let's see. Chuck, you got any questions? While we
Oh shit! I usually have one. Oh, got it. Top of the dome. Top of the dome. Um, any tips or tricks that you've picked up along the way as the GM that you can kind of share with everyone
Um,
to keep, help keep your players' attention or anything like that?
Ooh.
I think the biggest tip that I picked up along the way is the use of cinematography terms um, to be able to tell the story using some of the things that Abria Iyengar did with Exandria Unlimited, where the description of pulling the camera back out and then putting it
Mm.
back on like a particular scene that the characters have no idea what's going on has added a lot to my storytelling, and even just like the introduction, and it gives me a great way to introduce a story. Be like, hey, the camera will pan out and zoom into this small little town and just kind of give me that opening to be able to start the story, whatever it is that I'm telling. Horror, cozy, or anything in between. It's been one of it's been one of my great tools to have picked up.
Yes, the camera spin. Actually, I had heard it before I saw it off of her show. Um, Vampire the Masquerade uses it a lot. So when people are telling the story there, they'll go from the city streets and you'll be looking at the
Hmm.
camera down onto the street, or you'll be looking down an alleyway and you're starting to see
Yeah.
this new idea. But yeah, it definitely gives a form of like size of what you're trying to uh, communicate, because you can then, like I said, you can go from a large world very quickly down into something very small so that you can see, but you can still say that there is a large world outside of this,
Oh yeah.
which is a lot of fun. Um, what is, and this is one I do like hearing, especially somebody who has played a lot of different TTRPGs. What is something in another TTRPG that you have brought to your D&D game?
Um, it's
Or have you? I mean, I guess I could say you might not have.
so it's more the storytelling aspect. It's
Sure.
not mechanics wise, but it's more storytelling. So whenever I do a horror game, I'm really diving into what a player is thinking, how they envision the thoughts that their character has, and
Mm.
so I use that when I started using that and going more into it in my horror games. Whenever I go into something that isn't so horror focused, I'll still utilize that and be like, hey, this moment just happened, and you watched as it occurred. What goes through your mind at this point? And that really helps put the like it really keeps the player engaged with it, or players, if there's like a couple of them that are going through a scene, they may not necessarily be the focus of it, but they were there and they were present. So we all go through those little bits. We all experience that. We have our thoughts of what we see as something goes on. So I like to highlight that, like even if it's a sad moment somebody goes through, hey, you watch this happen. What do you think's going on? What is your character thinking? And then hearing the thought process that they have for it, it's good to it's a good thing. It's a great tool that I have for that I've brought to like multiple different games.
I like it. Might bring it to my own. Who knows?
You've been picking up a lot lately.
I pick up everything. It's part of the fun.
Hell yeah.
My games have changed tremendously over the last 3 years, so I can't say anything. Just how you play with magic, how things like light work, how things like you said, being able to dive into somebody's actual psyche when they're working through something. I think that branching out into other games has helped with things like that. Especially like you said, when you're doing a horror game, like I did a Candela Obscura game a couple months ago, and it was great. However, it was something I had never experienced before, and it was a completely different type of game style than what I was used to. And Chuck's kind of dabbling too, you know.
What?
I said you're dabbling in new games as well. I mean, you decided to dive straight into Power Rangers. Like that's your.
I did. Yeah.
That's your
that one.
Your game right now.
I do have to give the shout out to Roll D5 because of them, I've tapped into playing so many different TTRPGs that while I have my comfort with 5e and Call of Cthulhu, I've learned to play so many different ones, from one pagers to a little bit more crunchy and more complicated games. It's given me that experience to just see what's all out there. There's one game there's one indie game that I thoroughly enjoyed, which is called The Worst Days, and the whole premise of it is to be like a coming of age horror story where you're just in the life of these normal folks, either in high school or in college, and you're seeing what life is like for them before they encounter some sort of ungodly horror that you decide to throw them towards the end, because at that point it's too late. And that's been a fun game that I've enjoyed playing a couple times over there. So
playing Friday the 13th in the TTRPG world.
Yeah,
hey, let's all go to the cabin and hang out next to the lake. And
yeah, but at least in those movies they're survivors. It doesn't sound like they're survivors with this.
Is
there a final girl?
I mean, I'm sure there's always a final girl. Then what is it? The series that I played over there was a zombie apocalypse one where we started. We went through New Year's Eve and getting to know these characters while also dropping the hints. And I made the zombies, or at least I teased the zombies to be like that of Dawn of the Dead. And by the end of it, that's where shit really hit the fan, and that actually goes back to the one of the questions you asked earlier, which was a character decision that stood out to me on a stream, was with the creator Misfit. They, at the end of it, they got bit their character got bit on the ankle, and in a moment of self-sacrifice, they took off running, took down as many zombies to save their friends, to allow them to escape. And then we ended off with their friends making it out and going into this vast unknown of who knows what the fuck would happen. So it was a great way to end that first session.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to find out who this other misfit is, though. We're gonna have to have that conversation.
Yeah. Try that.
Yeah. I will. At least I get to say hi. Like, there's not many of us out there, or there's a lot of us out there. I don't know. Apparently, at this point,
Misfit's amazing. If if you get a chance to meet them, you will not regret it. They are phenomenal people. Shout out to them.
Excellent. Maybe it'll be Misfit on the Misfits. Look at that.
You like Misfits, so we put them on the Misfits.
Yeah, that's right. So this is a question I wanted to ask earlier that I completely forgot about until now, is how have you seen your players deal with coming to a conclusion of one campaign and getting ready for another?
Ooh, So
Because I know a lot of people have a lot of hard times with that.
it's been fortunate. There's only been one instance where um, we we came to a pretty good ending, but there just felt like there was probably more, and there were loose ends to that campaign. Um, but for the most part, what some of the process that I've put together is that we'll we'll conclude the campaign, and then we'll take a week off, and then we will jump into just fun one shots to kind of be that palate cleanser that we talked about, that we mentioned earlier, just so that way, like, they can, take that time to just, come to terms with the fact that the campaign's gone, the campaign's done with, we're good to go, we're about to move on to something further before we have those conversations for what the next campaign will look like. But for the one where it was just like, hey, we have loose ends, I ended up talking with them and saying, hey, do you want to revisit these characters one last time? We can make this into a mini series, and then we can see where your characters have come from the end of the last campaign to this mini series, and then go from there. And it worked out amazingly well, because they gave me so much to work with. I'm like, okay, I'm about to fuck up your feelings right now. Here's what's going to go on. And then just completely, do what is it, bring out the villain straight forth to them, to let them know, like, hey, you let this happen, we didn't come back to find them, nobody went to go looking for them, so they've had all this time to do all this, and so now they're coming back for a vengeance. But they gave them the motivation to be like, hey, look, we're going to find this person, we're going to take care of them, and then that's it. And then once we completed that miniseries, they're like, now we feel like we could put these characters rest. This was amazing.
That's a good explanation there, though, because I do know a lot of times where game masters or parties that have been playing for 6, 9, 12, 18 months worth of playing, and you've developed such a love for one character because of that. And then when it's over, what do you do? Like, how do you get back into the mindset of this is the next step, or this is the new adventure? I love both ideas there. The idea of a mini series that kind of like, hey, have we completed everything? Are our characters satisfied with where they are in life? Kind of letting them go off and be just normal after that. And also the palate cleanser idea. Like, what have you, and this is a good question to kind of follow up on that then, is what has been a really good palate cleanser TTRPGs that you've used? Or do you just use D&D as well? It's just you throw a one shot together?
Honestly, it depends on the mood of the group, and that's where, like, the conversation needs to go to. It's just like talking with them. Hey, what do you guys feel like doing next while we make a transition over here? Are there any games that you are interested in? Could it be we do something horror related? Do you guys want to do something vampire related? What's the group consensus here? And even just having like a not even jumping into it a one shot immediately, like having a break and then coming back and then having that conversation with everybody. You get to see your friends again, and then it's just like, okay, well, where do we go from here before we jump into our next campaign? And then you're going to get a lot of good feedback from them, from your players, your friends, because everybody at least from my experience, people want to keep playing, people want to keep telling those stories. It's just, what do we do next before we really jump into things? Some people will want to take over the GM seat and have allowed me to take breaks, so that way they can run a one or two shot, or even a mini series as well. And even some people dipping their toes in, like, hey, let me try giving this a shot, and letting them do that. So it's going to come down to that conversation of like, what do we do next? What do you guys want to do?
That's great. I mean, like I said, it sounds like you have a very solid group that's been around for that you've really connected with, which And nowadays, because of travel and because of busyness, like it has become a problem for a lot of people. And no, I mean that's awesome. Oh, ooh, man, there's been some really good conversations tonight. I've really loved this chat. The chat is still busy, which is great. We're past our hour, so at this point, chat, blow up the questions. This is what we call happy hour. This is where everybody in the chat room is allowed to ask whatever they want to ask. With some hesitation. There are certain things I still will not answer, but I say this and then I'm going to get something that I don't want to answer. I'll be like, no.
What is it? You guys asked before about like going from the switch of like horror to cozy.
Yeah.
So that was something that was more of a dare because like I said, I love running horror. It's my thing. I have fun doing it. I have fun telling supernatural horror stories. But on over at Roll D5 was like, Justin, I bet you can't do a cozy little TTRPG. I'm like, it's cozy month this month, isn't it? And they're like, yes, it is. All right. Bet we gonna do this. We gonna do this. We gonna do fuck boy. And then I found this cute little TTRPG called Iron Valley, and I had a great crew that was there to be able to tell a cozy yet a little bit of a sad story too. And I give Rara from the Heart of the Dungeon credit to that too, because I've been on their channel a couple times with some pre-recorded stuff, and I've learned I've picked up on ways of being able to tell sad stories and meaningful stories from them, and I was able to channel some of that energy from them to this story that I was dared to do, because Mama didn't raise no bitch, and I want to tell a cozy as fuck story.
There we go. It's that military in me. It's like, there we go.
Get on My Little Ponies next.
Yeah, My Little Ponies next. Or Care Bears.
Yes.
I think I could play almost identical though. Just change up the animal.
Flavor it different.
Yeah, just flavor it a little differently. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So what is this TTRPG? Because I never heard of it.
So it's a you can find it on itch. Like I said, it's Iron Valley. It's apparently a modification from another TTRPG that I can't that I don't remember off the top of my head, but it gives you a pretty it gives you it's supposed to be a solo actually, but it has also modded to be able to allow for multiple players, and based off of how the system is, you should be able to go through an entire year within a session, and go through a year in an entire session, but I was like, no, we're only going to just like focus around one event and explore the stories of everything that's going on. And we use it, I think it was a 2d6 system, if I'm not mistaken, with a 2d6 system. You have certain moves that you can do, and I used it just for like the stats more than anything else, and more focused on like that storytelling aspect for this game that we played. It was a cool little game. I was glad we were able to do it.
Yeah, cozy's interesting. It's a different mentality. You know, there's not usually like super high stakes in a cozy game, but there's still sadness.
There's still sadness, but there are ways you can not necessarily the stakes being as high as like what you would see in like a high fantasy game or a horror game, but with respect to like the coziness of it, there's ways you can make the stakes high enough that fit the theme of the game that you're playing without it being too like, oh crap, how is this actually going to fit? So yeah.
I can remember one off the top. I can't remember what the game is called, but you play animals, but they're part of a Boy Scout crew, and the idea is you have to deal with challenges without killing things, because that's the focus of the thing. Is you're not allowed to kill anything because you're a Boy Scout. You're trying to get your badges. Or you're a kid, Cub Scout, I think is what they call it, or Animal
Yeah.
Scout. But yeah, it's this very whimsical, silly, the game master is actually, the scout leader, and that's them walking you through the forest type stuff. And it's like, oh, you stumble upon an ogre. What do you do? And it's like, I don't know. I grab this thing and I twist it around and I craft this and I go, and it's like, okay, there we go. Like, it's the MacGyver of kids. And,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of fun. I can't remember what the game's called though. But
there's also Honey Heist.
Honey Heist
there's
is
Honey
another
Heist.
one. Yeah. My friend Eric runs a goofy Honey Heist game. I played a koala in that one as the bear down under, and it was great. So much fun. But yeah, there's also another one that we do kind of as a palate cleanser as well, called Kick Ass and Chew Bubblegum. There's only 2 things you can do. So yeah, and it's funny because you roll a d10, and you literally have to find something that's like bubblegum. So I think somebody was doing gummy bears, somebody was doing cookies, and you stack them in 10, and then, or you stack them in 9, you get 9 pieces.
Yeah.
And anytime you had to roll, you either kick ass or chew bubblegum. So it depended on if you wanted to chew bubblegum, which was anything other than kicking ass, you would have to roll a d10 and get above the amount of items you had left. Otherwise, you'd have to eat one. So in the end, all you're doing is kicking ass because you're out of bubblegum. And it was, you can do any scenario with this. So it's just, but by the end of it, you're coming up with crazy ideas. Like, I punched this man in the mouth so hard that his tooth falls out and hits the door to open it. And they're like, what? Like, all I have is kick ass. I can't do bubblegum no more. That's all I've got.
That's all I got, man.
I'm all out of bubblegum. But yeah, there's games out there for that.
Oh, absolutely. There was one time we did the game called Mush. It was a 1-pager written by Luke from Misty Mountain Legends, and the premise of it was to be able to get something back from the because we were playing as mushrooms. We had either it was very simple. It was a 1d6, and your stats were either a +2 or a -2, and one of them was you could be the fun guy, and you had these 2 things you can do, and I don't remember what the other one is off the top of my head, but Luke ran it for us over at RD5, and I remember there was one of our castmates was playing as a Boy Scout for it too, and somehow or another it just brought my character to be like that scout leader for them with all these badges, and we just started naming off random badges throughout the entire thing. Before you knew it, there was a air traffic controller badge that their character earned while also learning how to fly a helicopter. So
hey,
we got silly.
Perfect.
Right?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think there's another game out there called Tie Shoes, where it's just every time you do something, you have to roll a check, and if you succeed on the check, then you get that skill, and then you build skills throughout the entirety of the game. But yeah, no, these are, like you said, they're great palate cleansers. They're great ways to reset and transition to long-term campaigns. And they allow you to test something new that you've never touched before. And hopefully that's a helpful tool for any game master out there, because it also allows you as a game master to experience something that you probably never would experience before. We just did one in Colorado where everybody was a type of sock. and you've had to figure out how to get out of you had to go rescue your pair that's stuck in the dryer because socks lose themselves. So so everybody had their type of sock, and it was definitely an interesting story, but it was a lot of fun. And we were all drunk at the time too, which made it even better. So.
That's awesome.
But yeah. All right. Does the chat have any final questions for Justin, myself, or Chuck? Because we're already almost at our hour and a half. And I know I need rest. And Chuck, you work from home, so you don't need rest.
I do need rest. What are you talking about?
What is this rest you speak
What is this
of?
rest? And Justin gets up at like 4:30 in the morning is because he's got PT the next morning. Like, I get it. I understand. I've been there.
Yeah.
Why,
years.
Justin? Why? That is what the question is. Why, Justin? Why?
Eric, I need more context than that, baby, because otherwise that could be so many different
That's
things.
another 2 hours. At least.
Well, while we're waiting on the final question of the night, Chuck, do you have anything last you'd like to say?
No, this has been great. I've enjoyed this. This has been a great conversation. Just remember to check us out. I don't know. I got nothing.
No, you're good. Justin, do you have any last words?
Thank you very much for having me here tonight. It was a blast and a pleasure to be able to sit down with you guys, and just be able to talk story, offer tips, perspectives on things, because that's what we need in this world. We need more perspectives. We need more people's experiences out there, not just within our space, but just in the world in general. So thank you for allowing me to be able to be here with you guys and offering my perspective.
Awesome. Last thing for you before I close it out tonight, where can they find you?
Yes, you can find me, like all my socials are at forever, the number 4 ever GM Justin, and you can also find me doing stuff over at Roll D5, from doing tech work to running games and playing as games. And then there are a lot of other TTRPG channels that I am a part of. As I mentioned before, I'm over at Whitney's channel every other Friday, playing as Narup, the Drake Warden Grung, who is also known as Therapy Frog, and that's just one of several other characters that I play. So if you want to keep up with everything I'm doing, follow me on my socials to see what new and exciting projects are coming out for me. And then, like I said, I am also having a Call of Cthulhu, the start of a Call of Cthulhu series that will be coming out as soon as I finish all the editing. So be on the lookout for that.
I might have to have questions on you about editing because I got to start that process here very soon. Anyway, it's a whole nother project in itself. I tell you, the video editing is not fun. It's like fun, but it's exhausting.
GMing is rewarding, and the video editing is like, oh my god, what am I getting yourself into?
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that part. But I also can't get a group together on the same night, every other week. So we're gonna pre-record and get it out there. Thanks again, Justin, for coming out here and hanging out with us here at the tavern. It's been a blast. Go check his stuff out. Every one of the players he's mentioned tonight, or every one of the characters he's mentioned tonight, sound like a great character to watch play. Let's see here, real quick. Shout out to our sponsors, Monument Studios, the music we hear in the backgrounds, up to 5,000 professional audio sounds. Go check them out. We're waiting on our official ID code. It's coming soon. Canadian Dice, if you want 15% off your Click-Clacks, go over there, Misfit 15. And then finally, if you like merch, you like these cool little logo here, or you like the cool little logo over there, you can buy all of our merch over there at dungeongrandmaster.com. Let's see here. Thank you for all of the chat that's been tonight. This has been such a fun adventure and chat. All the questions. I've added a couple more to our D100 list that we're growing here this year, as well as some that just came off the top of my head because of the questions that were asked tonight, which were great. Let me think. What are the things I got to say tonight before we close out?
Promos.
Thank you. This is why we have you on the show, to keep me in check.
That's the only reason.
And ask good questions. Yeah, so want to continue to hang out with the Misfits, you can come check us out tomorrow night for Beaker's Garage, where he builds Gunpla, Lego, mini painting, all the fun cool stuff like that. This week we return for Dress to Quest for our next episode. Come check out our newest guest, our emotional support Cobalt, as well as potentially another guest showing up as we kind of blend to the next arc as the Chardalyn Dragon continues to wreak havoc across Icewind Dale. And then come back next week as we have a new guest every week. And finally, Mists of Moria is on its way. First episode is recording this weekend. I'm so excited. Our whole crew is an amazing cast, and I can't wait to tell this story with all of them. We're using the official One Ring TTRPG, not D&D, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. That'll be launching here at the end of the month on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Final thing, please stick around so we can raid somebody and make somebody happy. So as we close this out, thank you all for coming. Raise your glasses high. This is Tavern Talks. We'll see you guys all next week. Good night.
Cheers.
My glass is empty. I finished it already.